I'm 79 years old, and I need to tell you something that doesn't sit well when you first hear it, but it stays with you. One decision, just one, can follow you for the rest of your life. Not loudly, not all at once, quietly, like a shadow that never leaves. I didn't think about consequences the way you probably don't think about them now. I thought in terms of moments, pressure, emotion, what felt right in that second. I didn't think in decades. But life, it stretches things out. It makes one moment echo longer than you expect. 40 years is a long time to sit with something. A very long time. And the strange part is, it didn't feel like I was ruining my life when it happened. It felt small, contained, almost justified. That's how it starts. You tell yourself a story. You say, this is temporary. You say, I'll fix it later. You say, it's not that serious. I said all of those things, and I believed them. Back then, I thought life was about reacting, handling what's in front of you, doing what you have to do to get through the day. I thought that was responsibility. I thought being practical meant making quick decisions and moving on. I didn't sit with things. I didn't question myself deeply. I didn't ask, what will this cost me in 10 years? I only asked, how do I get through this right now? That felt normal. Everyone around me lived like that. You deal with pressure. You make a call. You keep going. No one really stops. No one really looks ahead far enough. You think you have time to correct things later. Later. That word becomes very comfortable. I'll deal with it later. I'll make it right later. I'll think about it later. Later becomes a habit. And habits, they shape your life more than big decisions do. At least, that's what I believed. I believed I was in control because I could always adjust things down the road. I believed mistakes were temporary. I believed consequences were negotiable. That's how I lived. Not recklessly, just casually. There's a difference. Reckless people know they're taking risks. I didn't think I was taking one. I thought I was just handling a situation, doing what made sense at the time. And if you're honest with yourself, doesn't that sound familiar? How many times have you told yourself, I'll figure it out later? How many times have you pushed something aside because it felt uncomfortable to face right now? How often do you make decisions just to relieve pressure, not because they're right? It doesn't feel dangerous when you're in it. It feels normal. That's the problem. Nothing about my life back then felt unusual. I wasn't trying to destroy anything. I wasn't trying to throw my future away. I just didn't think one moment could stretch into 40 years. I didn't think something small could become something permanent. But life doesn't ask for your permission before it turns a moment into a lifetime. And by the time you realize what you've done, you're already living inside it. I was 39 when everything stopped. Not slowly, not in a way I could ease into. It stopped all at once. One day I was living the life I thought I understood, and the next I was sitting in a room where time felt different. Heavy, still, unforgiving. There's a moment when reality arrives, and it doesn't ask if you're ready. It just settles in. I remember the silence more than anything. Not noise, not chaos. Silence. Because for the first time in my life, there was nowhere to go. No distraction, no movement, no later. Just me and the decision I had made. You think you understand fear, but there's a different kind of fear when you realize something cannot be undone, not adjusted, not explained away, not fixed later. That word, later, disappears completely, and without it, you feel exposed. I kept replaying it in my head, over and over, not dramatically, not emotionally at first, just mechanically, like I was trying to find the exact point where I could have chosen differently, the exact second where I could have paused. But I didn't pause. I reacted, like I always had. That's when it started to become clear. This wasn't just one decision. It was a pattern, a quiet, consistent way of living that I had never questioned. Always moving, always postponing, always choosing what was easier in the moment. I started to see it everywhere, not just in that one moment, but in years before it. The conversations I avoided, the responsibilities I pushed forward, the small compromises I told myself didn't matter. They all had the same shape. I'll deal with it later. I don't have time right now. This isn't a big deal. It was never one big mistake. It was 1,000 small ones, all pointing in the same direction. That's the part no one talks about. Life doesn't fall apart in a single moment. It leans, slowly, in a direction you don't notice. And then one day, it's too far to straighten. Time inside those walls. It teaches you things you didn't ask to learn. Days repeat, then weeks, then years. And at some point, you stop measuring time the way you used to. It's not about what you'll do next week or next year. It becomes about what you didn't do, what you didn't say, what you kept postponing. I used to think life moved fast, but that's not true. Life moves quietly. It's you who rushes through it. And when you finally stop, you realize how much you missed while you were hurrying. I watched years pass the same way I used to push decisions forward, without attention, without presence, just waiting. Always waiting for something to change, for a moment that would somehow fix everything. But nothing changes like that. There is no moment that comes and cleans up your past. There is no perfect time that arrives and makes things right. That's another lie I believed, that time would solve things on its own. But time doesn't solve anything. It just carries your patterns forward. If you keep delaying, time just gives you more delay. If you keep avoiding, time gives you more distance. And before you realize it, years have stacked up behind you, quietly, without asking. Tell me something. What are you postponing right now? What are you telling yourself you'll deal with later? And how long have you been saying that? When you sit with your life long enough, without distractions, certain things become impossible to ignore. Not big dramatic moments, small things, ordinary things you thought didn't matter. I started making a list in my head, not intentionally. It just formed over time. The people I never called back, the conversations I avoided because they felt uncomfortable, the apologies I rehearsed in my mind but never actually said. I always thought there would be another chance. There usually isn't. There were places I said I'd visit one day. I remember saying that a lot. One day. It sounds harmless when you say it, but one day is just another version of not now. And not now turns into years faster than you expect. There were things I wanted to try, ideas I had when I was younger. Nothing unrealistic, just small things that mattered to me. But I kept postponing them. Work came first. Responsibilities came first. Other people came first. I told myself that was the right thing to do. Maybe you're telling yourself the same thing. I didn't set boundaries. I didn't say no when I needed to. I didn't stop and ask myself what I actually wanted. I just kept going, kept agreeing, kept adjusting, kept telling myself, I'll get to it later. Later never came. It just kept moving further away. There were relationships I didn't invest in properly, not because I didn't care, but because I assumed they would always be there. That assumption, it costs more than you think. People move on, people change, people stop waiting, and when you finally look up, they're gone. No argument, no closure, just distance. I used to think regret would feel loud, obvious, heavy all at once, but it doesn't. It's quiet. It shows up in small moments, a memory you didn't expect, a name you haven't said in years, a thought that comes out of nowhere and stays longer than you'd like. That's what regret feels like. It's not dramatic. It's persistent. If you're honest with yourself, how many things are you carrying right now that you haven't dealt with? Who haven't you called? What haven't you said? What are you avoiding because it feels easier to wait? And why do you believe you have so much time? That's the part I never questioned. Time. I assumed it would always be there, waiting for me to catch up. But time doesn't wait. It moves with or without you. And if you keep choosing later, you're not saving time. You're spending it without noticing. Let me ask you something else. Who are you really living for right now? Is it you? Or is it expectations, habits, routines you never stop to question? How many decisions are you making just to keep things comfortable? Just to avoid friction? Just to get through the day? I did that for years, and it looked like a normal life from the outside. But underneath, I was slowly disconnecting from everything that actually mattered. Not all at once, piece by piece. That's how it happens. You don't lose your life in a single moment. You give it away, gradually. I don't have many complicated conclusions to give you. After all these years, everything I thought mattered has become very simple. Not easy, but simple. What matters isn't what I spent most of my life chasing. It isn't staying comfortable. It isn't avoiding difficult conversations. It isn't saying yes just to keep things smooth. And it definitely isn't waiting for the right time. The right time doesn't arrive. It never did. What matters is much quieter than that. It's the conversations you don't postpone. It's the honesty you choose, even when it costs you something. It's saying no when you need to, even if it disappoints someone. It's showing up for the people who won't always be there. It's paying attention to your own life while you're living it, not after it's already passed. I used to think big decisions shaped everything, but they don't. It's the small ones you repeat every day, the ones that feel insignificant, the ones you barely notice. Those are the ones that build your life, or slowly take it apart. And once enough time passes, they become very hard to undo. That's the part no one warned you about. You think you'll notice when things are going wrong. You think there will be a clear sign. There usually isn't. It just feels like another day, another delay, another "I'll deal with it later," until later runs out. I'm not telling you this to scare you. Fear doesn't change people for long. I'm telling you because I lived a life where I kept waiting, and I ran out of time to fix what I kept postponing. You still have that time, but not as much as you think. That's the truth people avoid. You don't have unlimited chances. You don't have endless laters. You have a limited number of conversations you'll get to have, a limited number of decisions that will actually shape your direction, a limited number of moments where you can choose differently. And most of them won't feel important when they happen. That's why they're dangerous. So ask yourself, honestly, what are you still postponing? What are you pretending isn't urgent? What are you avoiding because it's uncomfortable right now? And how many times have you told yourself, "I'll deal with it later"? Later is where most of my life disappeared, quietly, without resistance, just gone. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to fix everything at once, but you do need to stop waiting. Start with one thing, one conversation, one decision you've been delaying. Not tomorrow, not when things calm down. Now. Because the life you think you'll get to later is being shaped by what you're choosing today. If any part of what I've said feels familiar, don't ignore it. Sit with it. Think about it. Maybe even say it out loud to yourself. And if you want to, share what you've been postponing. You don't have to explain it perfectly. Just don't keep pushing it further away. I did that for too long, and I'm the one who has to live with where it led. You still get to choose differently. For now.